Argentina have confirmed their squad for the July test. As far as I'm aware, they're just playing the two. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure they've just got two away games against Wales. So it's only a 32-man squad for Mario Ledesma. I say only. It's smallish compared to some of the other squads, but if they've only got two games, it kind of makes sense. July 17th is the second, July 10th is the first up against Wales, so it should be a pretty fascinating series, especially with Wales having some of their key guys away with the Lions. It looks like, and I'll go through the squad quickly, I'm familiar with most of these guys. A lot of them have played for the Pumas before. A lot of them have played in Super Rugby with the Jaguares, although there are a couple of debutants. It looks like they're kind of shifting slightly younger. I'd have to have a look at the average age of the squad compared to the previous one, but there's certainly a lot of talent. It's just, for me, it used to be a lot easier watching these guys largely play in that jersey. Now they're more like in this jersey or Leicester or the Force or all that kinds of stuff. So it's a bit harder to keep track of some of them. But anyway, it's a good mix and a few guys who are based in the SLAR as well. Hookers, they've gone with Bosch Montoya, who is captain, and Socino. Now, the obvious name missing there is Crevi. I don't think that he's retired. I've never read that he's retired, but it may be that they are, as I said, kind of shifting for a younger squad. And to be honest, all of those guys are pretty good. Montoya played a stupid number of games under Crevi, like as a replacement. He's played a lot of tests, but I would say the majority of them as replacement. But he really came into his own and stood well as the number one, number two in Argentina in 2020. So I don't have any. Obviously, I feel bad for Crevi, but I don't have any problems having Montoya as your main guy because he is absolute class. Props, they've got Wegrisen. Goodness me, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Apologies. Gijena, Titus Chaparro, Cordella, Medrano, and Pierretto. Most of those guys are pretty familiar. I think it's your first two guys. The one who's butchered pronunciation I did was those guys are the two guys who haven't played for the Pumas before. Titus Chaparro is over in the UK now. He's been around the block a while with the Pumas and with the Jaguares. The other guy's Medrano is currently with the Force, and he's playing pretty well from what I've seen of him. Cordella is also class, and Pierretto maybe is the third guy. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of pick at the front row, but it has been an area in recent years where Argentina have struggled a wee bit, but I think they're on the road to correcting that. It was a legit weakness not that long ago, but it seems to be at least kind of steady the last time we saw them. One area they are more than just steady is their locks. Argentina are absolutely blessed with a heap of depth at lock. They've got Alemano, Lavanini, Petty, and Crema. Crema can be that guy who also plays loose forward, depending on what they want to do with him. Lavanini and Petty are traditionally their main guys. You got the big unit, which is Lavanini, who's going to do all the rough stuff, and Petty is the absolute skills guy. He is one of the best line-out stealers in the world, if not the best. Alemano has traditionally been the third guy, and Crema, like I mentioned, floats between the back row and the second row, but he's equally adept at playing both big tackler, big ball carrier as well. So they are stacked in their second row. There's no Paulos, who's been kind of the fourth guy. Lucas Paulos, young-ish, I think, compared to the other guys. But again, with only two games, I'm sure they have to kind of limit the numbers they can take. Likewise, loose forwards, they're pretty stacked. Bruni, Gorison, Isa, Lozana, and Matera. Matera is no longer captain, but I'm sure New Zealand fans will be keen to see him play in this tour because he's going to be joining the Crusaders for a year for the 2022 season. But he is an all-round legit jack of all trades, but very good at all of them. Great ball carrier, great hands, can tackle, big work rate, can pilfer as well. So he's a class operator to have there. And then again, there's a few guys who missed out. Ortega Decio is one guy who missed out, but he's maybe a bit of the victim that they do have a lot of depth there. Gorison is probably one of the lighter guys on caps, but he seems to be a pretty high work rate player. Isa is a proper unit for Toulon. Big old number 8. So Lozana is also another guy who's very effective around the breakdown. So Yeah, pretty stacked back row and second row. It's the front row, in particular the props, that I want to see more of because, yeah, it's still not a question that's been 100% solved. I think hookers, I think they're also pretty well stacked. The backs, Bertrand Kubeli and Escura, the main guys who have been selected at halfback. They've only selected two guys for number 10. That's Miotti and Sanchez. Kubeli's been playing with the Western Force and Super Rugby AU alongside Miotti, so there's a relationship already right there. Sanchez is playing over in France. Obviously by reputation and the way he played against the All Blacks in the 2020 series where they beat the All Blacks for this first time, he was scoring virtually, I think, almost all of and in that game, I think it was literally all the points for the Pumas, wasn't it? So he's a hard man to replace, but I would love to see Miotti get some proper minutes. And the race for that number 9 jersey still seems to be kind of on in Argentina, as they haven't quite found the guy to be the out-and-out number 9. I would say Escura is maybe the third guy, and it might be between Bertrand, I think he had injuries, was it last year or the year before, and Kubeli, who is a bit of a veteran at this point, but yeah, certainly some options for Ledesma to tinker with. Midfielders, they've got Chocobares, De La Fuente, Moroni, and Orlando. Chocobares is that little bit of, I guess, inexperience. Remember, he's already beaten the All Blacks, so it's a pretty good start to his career. De La Fuente is a guy who I think is really underrated. Good all-round game. Again, good hands. He's not a huge ball carrier, which is the main thing that you don't get from him. He's not like a Manu Tuilagi. He's more like a Ryan Crotty, I guess, in that regard, as he's often setting up other people rather than just kind of crashing through himself. But he's a really good player. Moroni, I don't think played for the Pumas last year. I think he's come back into the squad now. And Orlando has also got a really wide-ranging skill set. I forget how old he is. I feel like he's getting on, but I could be mistaken. But yeah, pretty useful midfield. But outside backs, very exciting. Cordero, Delgui, Imhoff, Boffelli and Carreras. So again, it's a bit of a proper mix. Boffelli is probably my favourite of the bunch, man. He's got a huge boot on him. He's got gas. I'm a bit disappointed to see no Mojano. Ramiro Mojano, that guy runs very, very good angles, but it's hard to be disappointed when you see the likes of Imhoff, Delgui there as well. Very fleet-footed. Carreras. There's no Cancellieri, I noticed. There's no Malia in the midfield. I saw him in the Champions Cup final the other day, scored a try. So there's certainly some guys omitted, but as I said, if it is just the 2 games, it is maybe understandable that the squad is relatively small. No Diaz Bonilla, he seems to have fallen out of favour. Remember, he had a really good season for the Jaguares in 2019, but then didn't really make the World Cup, so seems to be out of the plans with the likes of Miotti, Sanchez, Urupujeta, I guess, as well. He is down the pecking order, but yeah, it's good to see. I think Vivas is out injured. I did see him as a bit of a notable omission. He's one for the future as well, still relatively young for a prop. But yeah, overall, pretty useful looking Argentina squad. Can't wait to see these guys back in action. Hopefully they can kind of build on some of the play that they did last year. Obviously, it wasn't a flawless campaign. They beat the All Blacks, which was a high. But then they also lost later on, and did they still finish? No, they finished second in the Tri-Nations. They finished middle of the table. It was a bit of a weird tournament. But anyway, I am hoping they can build and do really well in 2021 in July. 2 games, the 10th and the 17th. So yeah, if there are any other games, I thought I had read that they were playing another game, but I must be dreaming. There's too much rugby on. You guys let me know your thoughts on the Argentina squad, apart from the likes of Crevi. Are there others that you are disappointed to see miss out? Is there any guys you are particularly happy to see? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.